In this video, we are going to see how we can convert our API response to Dart data classes. So without wasting any time, let's get started. We will go to our data folder and create one more folder called as model, and in that we can create to do folder. Now here we can create a class called as to do. So if we see our response, we required few field only, like this 4 field are required. So I will grab this only. Now completed ID, title, description. So let's start with the title. So title will be a string, and then description. After that we have like completed, which is not a string, it is a boolean. And then we have ID, which is a integer. So ID, let's keep it on top. Okay, ID. Now after that completed will be a nullable value. Now we can create a constructor here. So like to do, we can add all this value, this dot. Okay, we can just paste it here, add the comma. Okay, ID is required. Yeah. So now we have created a constructor. Now we have to create one more constructor so that we can take this result.data as parameter in that constructor and map our JSON to our data class. So for that we can do like to do dot from JSON. Here we are going to take a map as an argument, which will be like a type of string and dynamic, and we will call it as JSON. So it will be a factory. Now we are just going to return this value like this to do class. So we can do to do, and let me just format it. Okay, so now what we will do, we will grab the ID from JSON. So it is very simple, something like this, and assign it to the ID parameter here. We will do the same for title and for completed. Okay, okay, fine. Now like we will have to add one more function so that we can convert our to do data class like that data to JSON data that we have to send in. Basically this, we have to convert our Dart data class to JSON data class, JSON. So for that we can create one method. Let me just put it down here, and it will be like to JSON, and it will return a map. So it will return what we are taking from here. Okay, now we can just pass the value or grab this thing here, and we can say colon this. Okay, so this is our to JSON function, like the ID is mapped to this ID thing, the title is mapped to this, and our data class is ready. Let's just add one more function to string, and here let's just add something like let me grab this. Okay, here we can do something like Okay. Mm, this. Okay. So we have created our data class. Now we have to modify this data source. So what we will do, we will try to pass this result.data into our data class. So we will import it and we will use the from JSON function. Now let's save this in a variable called as to do, and instead of logging this, let's log this. So now if I see my debug console here and do a restart, let me add a note to do. Okay, we are getting the data. That means we are successfully able to convert the JSON data to our uh, Dart data classes. Now this is helpful that we can get the auto completion and everything, and now our Flutter project know that this data will be converted to this. So now instead of returning void, we can return actual to do. We can like return a to do, or let's call it result, and let's call it as response or data. Now even here, instead of taking single value, let's just take a whole to do object, and here in the data section we can just call as to do dot to JSON. Now our API call is getting, we are getting error here, so we can just do to do, and so the ID will also be nullable because while saving we will not have the ID, we will have only title description, so we will make that only required. Okay, so instead of let's call it title controller dot text, description controller dot text, and by default when we are creating a to do it will be, let's remove that also. Let's save it, and if we see our to do here, log to do dot to string. Let me just clean that. Okay, we are getting a future of to do because save to do is a future and we aren't waiting for that. So let's just add await and async. Now if we do await, okay, now completed is going null. So what we can do, we can pass completed as false. Okay, okay, yeah. Now if we do this, we are getting the data. So we are able to pass data like send JSON data to API and convert the response back to that data classes. But as you can see, this process is very hectic and this required a lot of boilerplate code. So in the next video, we are going to see how we can tackle this problem.